The Dark Knight is next in our Nolan film list. Not much needs to be said about this movie apart from it's one of the best comic book movies of all time, the best Batman movie of all time, and arguably one of the best movies of all time. The intro enough is to get you so excited. You see all the people in the clown masks robbing the bank, and after the tease from Batman Begins, you know what's going on. And from what I hear, he had a lot of haters, a lot of doubt about him being cast as the role. I kind of seen that myself when I saw that Joaquin Phoenix had been casted as Joker. I was a bit, but look how all wrong we were proved with that. And it's the same with Heath Ledger. When you see him for the first time, you're just like, whoa. I mean, look at that. Look at that makeup. It's creepy. Ledger's performance goes without saying. Unfortunately, he passed away not long after the movie, but he did win the Oscar for it, which is great because he thoroughly, fully deserved it. And his version of the Joker is genuinely creepy, genuinely scary, and it's unsettling to watch. And it kind of makes you uncomfortable as you're watching him because you're just thinking, what the hell is this guy thinking? What's going to go through his head next? What's he going to do next? And what makes his character so great in this movie is his fixation on just pure chaos. He doesn't care about anything. He's got nothing to lose. He just wants to create chaos. He wants to push people to their absolute moral limitations, and notably Batman, because Batman is the guy that has this moral code that he needs to follow. So to the Joker, that is just a goldmine of fun for him. Someone he can really test. He wants to see how far he can push this guy that's supposedly a hero. The Joker has nothing to lose when everyone else does, which is what makes him such a great villain, because no matter what happens, he will never lose. And that comes to Alfred's, iconic great quote, which is, "Some men just want to watch the world burn." And that's exactly it. That's it summed up. This guy does not care. He just wants to see everything get blown apart. Which is true. There's a hell of a lot of explosions caused by him in this film. And a villain like this is what Batman Begins was lacking. In Batman Begins, you always felt like Batman would come out top. I know I did. I could never see Batman losing. I could just see him overcoming the obstacle and winning the day. But in this film, it genuinely felt like he wouldn't be able to stop Joker. As you watch it, you think, how is he going to stop this guy? Joker is always 2 steps ahead, and it just felt like Batman couldn't win. And when he eventually does, there's too much lost. It's too late. You can say Batman won in the end, but in reality, he didn't. We spoke about Heath Ledger as Joker, but everyone in this movie is outstanding. All putting in some of their best performances, all on top of their game. Maggie Gyllenhaal comes in to play Rachel. I'm not really sure what happened there, why there was a recasting, but Maggie comes in, does a fantastic job. Obviously takes after her brother. And all returning cast improve on their performances. Alfred, played by Michael Caine, is just exceptional. He's just like a joy to watch on screen. And Gary Oldman is even better than he was in Batman Begins. And I think this is his best performance out of anything I've seen him in, career-wise. I think someone who is somewhat underlooked in this movie is Aaron Eckhart, who plays Harvey Dent, Two-Face. That's mainly down to the fact that he's sort of a side villain, a secondary character, whereas, the Joker's the one in the spotlight. But Harvey Dent has such an interesting character arc in this film, and he was so necessary to the plot being as good as it was. The film wouldn't have been the same if you didn't have the character of Harvey Dent there alongside the Joker. Harvey Dent is meant to be the hope of Gotham, the White Knight they call him, compared to the Dark Knight. And even Bruce believes that Harvey Dent is what Gotham needs. They need a hero with a face, someone they can truly believe in. Because Batman is seen as somewhat as a controversy, being someone that takes the law into his own hands, and people don't necessarily like that. A lot of people have these badges on that say, I believe in Harvey Dent. I believed in Harvey Dent when I was watching. I wanted him to succeed. It was genuinely tragic, and I hate the fact that he goes down this path that he does and he ends up losing himself. He's such a likeable character as someone who's trying to save Gotham. But his transformation from the hope of Gotham to a schizophrenic murderer is just really well done, and I love the way they showed his sort of decline, because you get glimpses of it beforehand as Harvey Dent. You see that if something personal to him is at stake, such as Rachel, he sort of loses his head a bit, and he has that in him. It's there. That's good, because you don't want anything too sudden with a villain. We've seen it before in other movies where they're just like good and then bad. It just too quick. And he has one of the best lines in this movie, maybe the best line, which is, "You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain," which is exactly what happens with him. And that line somewhat relates to Batman in the sense that he refuses to go away from his morals in terms of killing the Joker, because if he'd done that when he had the chance about halfway through the movie, a whole lot of damage would have been saved. But he has these morals that he can't go against. He can't kill people. And ultimately he pays the price for that, because he loses so much more because he refused to stop the Joker. And this makes him question himself. This makes him doubt the image of Batman, of what he's become, and it makes him really wonder what the point of it all is. He loses so much in this movie. He no longer has hope where he did. He had hope in Harvey Dent. He had hope that Gotham could be saved. But in the end, everything's really taken from him, and he loses all that hope. The plot as a whole is just insane. I don't really know how Nolan thought of it. It's just brilliant. Every aspect of it. It's so well written. It's so well paced. It's so well put together. It's just an absolute masterpiece. The only thing I didn't like, and it's not actually a weakness of the movie or flaw in any sense, is just that we didn't get more of Harvey Dent as Two-Face, because we kind of only get a brief stint with him, and I think it's a real shame that he was killed off. But it does round the movie up nicely. It really gives it that full sort of closure, comes full circle. I've spoken a lot about the characters because it's quite easy to just focus on that, but just all elements of this are really top notch. Practical effects, once again, are just wow. I mean, the hospital blowing up was fucking crazy. I can't actually believe they did that. That's so dope. Costume design, the Joker's makeup is just exceptional. I heard he was actually putting that on himself to make it seem more real. That's why he still had like the paint on his fingers. You know, the CG for Dent's face, you know, half of it burned off. You know, I always remember that bit where he takes the sip of whiskey and it comes out of his jaw because it's just, there's nothing there. And Hans Zimmer, I mean, what more needs to be said? He's one of the best composers going out there, and this score is absolutely unreal. You know, it's just so great. You know, you've got the eerie stuff for Joker that just makes him entering a room even more creepier. And my favourite piece of music in the whole film actually comes near the end, when you've got Harvey Dent as Two-Face, you know, with Gordon and his family, and you've got this great score that's building up. This is a great scene. I mean, Harvey Dent has really lost everything, and he's lost the plot essentially. You know, he's just going on a killing spree based on the flip of a coin. And despite Batman having lost so much, he still wants to try and save Harvey, even though Harvey is really beyond saving at this point because of like the atrocities he's committed. That scene's probably our favourite in the movie, but there's just so many great scenes in this movie, it's kind of hard to just pick one. There's just so many. This film is a modern masterpiece. It goes in my top 10 movies of all time. I think it probably goes in a fair few people who are into Batman and that sort of thing, because this is all you could really ask for a superhero movie. You couldn't ask for much more. It's grounded, it's real, it's epic though, and it doesn't hold back. This is a 10 out of 10, 100%, and Nolan's best film so far in the series that we're going through. Maybe there'll be another one, we'll see. Thank you very much for watching. Up next is not The Dark Knight Rises. I'm trying to go chronological in terms of order they came out. Let me check, I don't actually know what's next. Inception is next. Yeah.